Hi, Mark Gilbert here. Thanks for clicking in. This video is about releasing others' opinions. Like all the videos here, they're designed to give you tools and ideas for assisting with our spiritual evolution. Hope you benefit from it, and if so, I'd love it if you'd hit that subscribe button. It lets YouTube know you like what we're doing here. So when we talk about releasing others' opinions, we're talking about the fact that most of us tend to obsess over what other people think about us. Do you have that problem? If so, then you might want to stay tuned to this video as we discuss some ways in which you can release having that attachment to the good opinions of other people. I was drawn recently to a card by Wayne Dyer and some words he had written on this particular card. It says, "What other people think of me is none of my business." And on the flip side of it, he expands on that by saying, one of the highest places you can get to is to be independent of the good opinions of other people. Wayne is spot on these particular words. I think that so many of us hold back from living our authentic life, being who we truly are meant to be in this world, because other people think that we cannot do or be what it is that we think we want to do and be. We hold back because of what we are concerned about in terms of other people judging us or seeing us negatively, because we tend to step out of the box a little bit and go down and walk our own path, yet they want us to walk a different direction. Why is it that we obsess over the opinions of other people? Well, it's natural given the state of our conditioning as human beings on this planet. When we're born into form as a child, you can think back to your parents, and they praised you when you acted in a certain way, and they scolded or punished you when you acted in a way they didn't want to. And it didn't take long for you to learn to act in a way that got the rewards. So much of our inner conditioning from a very early age, that whole stimulus response teaching that we had as a youngster, was all designed to direct our behaviors in a way that acted in alignment with what others thought we should do. Now that feeling and sense of trying to please others carried on in throughout the rest of our life. Even as our parents became less and less central to our lives, and friends and other people became more important in our lives, we still wanted to fit in. We still wanted the good opinions of our friends, their acceptance and inclusion to be rewarded. And hence we altered our behavior in order to be what they wanted us to be. Similarly, when we got into marriages or relationships, we very quickly learned what it is that they wanted out of us and tried to mirror that back to them. And in jobs, we have been rewarded by acting in a manner that is what others want us to do and be. And how many times along the way have we denied our true being, our true desire, our heart's desire, because we've buried it out of concern for what the other person was going to think? You know, a lot of this gets back to Maslow and his hierarchy of needs, and that we can look at this fact that as we move above the physiological needs, we can move into safety and security. We feel safer when we are in a sense of not being judged by other people. And we can also look at the loving belongingness needs that's being met when we are fitting into a group and the group accepts us to a greater degree. Even so much of this goes on these days, and we can think about the actions within social media and our political debates, that a lot of times we find our like-minded people, and although we may not totally agree with everything they are saying, because we've identified with them as being part of our political or social tribe, we may find ourselves bending a little bit on political issues to fit in because our tribe tends to corral us into a commonality of thinking. But there's a little part of us that wants to manifest our own uniqueness in that moment and not be so uniform with everyone around us. So then the question becomes, how do we move beyond this conditioning that's occurred so many years of our life to actually letting go of the good opinions of others? So secondly, when we're looking at other people's opinions, let's don't push back against them. Let's see them as their good opinions, as Wayne talks about. Because in most cases, people don't have negative desires or intentions behind their desire to push us in a particular direction. It's a natural occurrence that they're going to state their opinion, and it's our internal processing of what they're saying that's wanting to feel like we need to act in a way that's going to get good judgments from them. But if we're pushing back against that, if we want to be our own person, we don't have to argue and push back against their opinions. If we're pushing back against their opinions, it's going to lead to arguments and divisiveness. What we've got to recognize is that their good opinions are simply that. They're good opinions. We have to recognize that if we had walked in their shoes throughout their life, if we had lived the life and all the experiences that they had to this particular moment, that we would probably act and think and believe exactly like they do. And so if they're expressing an opinion that is counter to what we desire, or they're stating something that we feel like is what they would like us to do, to see, they want to express a control over our actions, we've got to know that their intentions, for the most part, are generally honorable and good, and that we don't have to necessarily go along with it, but in seeing them as good and understanding that they just naturally got to that state of an opinion and belief about the circumstances, by accepting that, we have less desire to push against it, to argue, to rebel in a negative way. Because if we're going to rebel negatively, we're going to create conflict, and that conflict is going to create a resistance and a persistence of that particular belief showing up in our lives in other ways and hold us back from manifesting the life that we really want. So the key point is to see that no matter what their good opinion is, and although we tend to think they are trying to control us, we need to let go of that sense that they are trying to control us and simply see that it is our internal processing of their actions and their statements that we need to change. We do not need to change them. What we need to do is to change our internal reactions to what they are saying and doing. That is a very key point to remember. And the third thing I'd like to stress about letting go of the good opinions of others is when Wayne Dyer talks about one of the highest places you can get to is this state of letting go of the good opinions of others. To recognize that is one of the highest states in your consciousness, because he's talking about shifting us from a sense of seeing external people doing things to us to moving to a place where we recognize that we can create the life that we want. That we're no longer victims to the actions and thoughts of others, but that we are co-creators of our own life. So when we are considering the fact of releasing others' opinions, to letting go of what they think, it's to simply create in our own awareness that we can create the life that we want. Yes, others out there are going to have their ideas about the way our lives should be lived, and we can simply bless their ideas and them on their way as we go ahead and create the life that we want. See ourselves as not a victim to them, but as someone who can step out and live our creative life fully. We are living that highest life when we tap into our true authentic selves, when we can find what it is in ourselves that it's called forth to express as this unique creation of the One. Something in us calls to express in a most perfect and divine way. Oftentimes we bury that based on our concerns about the opinions of others. But if we can step through this and to move to seeing that we can create the life that we want, then we're getting to that highest place that Wayne talks about. So what I'd like to leave you with then is what you can do on a day-to-day basis when you feel like other people's opinions are starting to push against you and push into you and keeping you from living your authentic life. Well, I would invite you to memorize this phrase of Wayne Dyer's and use it as something that you can say internally to yourself over and over when you find yourselves in those moments. Again, what other people think of me is none of my business. What other people think of me is none of my business. What you think of me is none of my business. What they think of me is none of my business. Silently say that to yourself whenever you feel that somebody is trying to control you and with thoughts or actions that are your own internal judgments and reactions to what they're saying. Recognize that their intentions are good, but that you have control over your own thoughts and your own actions. I hope this has been beneficial. How do you release the good opinions of others? Leave me a comment in the field down below. And If you've got a question or suggestion for future videos, be sure to drop me an email. The email address is on the screen right now. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Hey, one more quick thing. I'd love it if you subscribe to the channel. The link is down there on the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. Also, there's a related video you might want to watch. It's right next to my face. And if you like this video, be sure to click like and leave me a comment on YouTube. Thanks.